You weren't supposed to find this. The frequency millionaires use isn't taught in business schools, it isn't discussed in financial seminars, and it certainly isn't shared freely with the masses. But you're here right now, reading these words. And that's no accident. Your consciousness has aligned with this information because you're ready to understand what the wealthiest people on this planet have known for centuries. What I'm about to share with you will completely shatter everything you've been conditioned to believe about money, success, and abundance. Let me be direct with you. The frequency millionaires operate on isn't what you think it is. It's not about positive thinking, vision boards, or repeating affirmations in the mirror every morning. Those are surface-level tools that keep you stuck in the same three-dimensional reality loop. The real frequency, the one that creates effortless wealth and abundance, exists at a quantum level that most people never access because they don't even know it's there. I discovered this frequency accidentally 3 years ago when I was at my lowest point financially. I had tried everything. I'd worked harder than anyone I knew. I'd followed every business strategy. I'd visualized success until my mind was exhausted. And yet I was still struggling, still chasing, still living month to month. That's when something inside me broke open. In a moment of complete surrender, I stopped trying to force my reality to change, and instead asked a different question. What frequency am I actually operating on right now? That single question changed everything. Because in that moment, I realized that money isn't attracted to hard work, it isn't attracted to desperation, and it isn't even attracted to desire. Money responds to a very specific frequency in the quantum field, and that frequency is something millionaires have mastered without even knowing they've mastered it. They've become vibrational matches to wealth at such a deep level that opportunities, resources, and abundance flow to them naturally, effortlessly, as if by magic. Here's what the quantum field actually responds to. And this is where it gets fascinating. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold creates a specific electromagnetic signature that broadcasts into the field of infinite possibilities. This isn't metaphysical theory anymore. Quantum physicists have proven that consciousness directly affects matter at the subatomic level. Your observation literally changes the behavior of particles. Your awareness shapes reality itself. But here's the key that most manifestation teachings miss entirely. The frequency millionaires operate on isn't high vibration excitement or desperate wanting. It's something far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. It's the frequency of already having. It's the frequency of completion. It's the frequency of knowing at the deepest level of your being that wealth is your natural state, that abundance is who you are, not something you need to chase or attract. When I first accessed this frequency, my entire reality shifted within 72 hours. I received an unexpected business opportunity that generated more income in 1 week than I had made in the previous 6 months. Synchronicities started appearing everywhere. People would reach out to me with resources I needed before I even asked. Money started flowing from directions I hadn't even considered possible. And the most profound part? None of it felt like manifestation. It felt like remembering. It felt like coming home to a truth that had always been there, waiting for me to recognize it. The millionaires who operate on this frequency don't talk about it because they don't realize they're doing it. They've simply embodied a state of consciousness where wealth is inevitable, where success is their default setting, where abundance is as natural as breathing. They don't hope for money. They don't wish for opportunities. They don't pray for abundance. They exist in a quantum state where those things are already present in their field, already collapsed into their reality, already flowing through every timeline they inhabit. Let me break down exactly what's happening at the quantum level when you operate on this frequency. Your consciousness exists simultaneously across multiple timelines and multiple versions of reality. Right now, there's a version of you that's already a millionaire, already living in complete abundance, already experiencing the financial freedom you desire. That version of you isn't in the future. It exists right now in a parallel quantum state. The frequency millionaires use is the frequency that allows them to merge with that timeline, to collapse that possibility into their current experience, to become the version of themselves that already has everything they want. This is why traditional manifestation techniques often fail. They're operating from a place of separation, from a belief that wealth is somewhere out there that you need to attract or bring toward you. But quantum mechanics tells us something radically different. Everything already exists in the field of infinite possibilities. Every version of your life, every outcome, every reality is already present in potential form. You're not creating wealth, you're selecting it. You're tuning your consciousness to the frequency where wealth is your present reality, not your future goal. What changed everything for me was understanding that my current financial situation wasn't a reflection of my worthiness, my capability, or my potential. It was simply a reflection of the frequency I'd been conditioned to operate on. I had been broadcasting lack, broadcasting struggle, broadcasting the belief that money was hard to make and hard to keep. And the quantum field, being neutral and responsive, simply reflected that frequency back to me in my three-dimensional experience. The moment I understood this, everything shifted. I realized I didn't need to work harder. I didn't need to learn more strategies. I didn't need to do anything differently in the external world. I needed to change the frequency I was broadcasting from. I needed to become the energetic match to the reality where wealth was already mine, where abundance was already flowing, where success was already guaranteed. Here's the specific technique that allowed me to access this frequency. And I want you to practice this immediately, because it will start shifting your reality faster than anything else you've tried. This isn't visualization. This isn't affirmation. This is quantum frequency alignment, and it works at the level of consciousness where reality is actually formed. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for the next 15 minutes. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, allowing your body to relax completely. Now, instead of imagining your future success or visualizing what you want to create, I want you to do something different. I want you to locate the feeling of already being wealthy in your body right now. Not the excitement of becoming wealthy, not the anticipation of having money. The actual feeling of already being a person who has more than enough, who never worries about money, who makes financial decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. This feeling exists in your consciousness right now because it exists in a parallel version of your reality. Your job is to find it, feel it, and anchor it into your present moment awareness. Scan through your body and notice where this feeling wants to emerge. For me, it shows up as a deep relaxation in my chest, a sense of expansion in my solar plexus, a quiet confidence that feels like an anchor in my core. For you, it might feel different. Trust whatever arises. Once you locate this feeling, amplify it. Breathe into it. Allow it to expand through every cell of your body. This is the frequency millionaires operate on. This is the vibration that collapses abundant timelines into your present reality. This isn't something you need to maintain every second of every day. You simply need to access it consistently enough that it becomes your new set point, your new default frequency, your new baseline state of consciousness. What happens next is where the quantum magic reveals itself. When you consistently operate on this frequency, your actions naturally change without effort or force. You start making different decisions. You start seeing opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous frequency. You start meeting people who can help you. You start receiving ideas and insights that lead to income and abundance. And most importantly, you stop chasing, you stop forcing, you stop struggling. Because millionaires don't chase money. Money chases them. Abundance seeks them out. Opportunities magnetize to them because they're broadcasting the frequency that says, I already have everything I need. I want to share something else I discovered about this frequency that will blow your mind. The millionaires who operate on this frequency don't just attract money. They attract time freedom. They attract meaningful relationships. They attract health, vitality, and joy. Because the frequency of abundance isn't just about wealth. It's about fullness. It's about completion. It's about operating from a quantum state where everything you need is already present in your field. This is why you'll notice that truly wealthy people often seem relaxed, unhurried, almost casual about their success. It's not because they're pretending or playing it cool. It's because they've accessed a frequency where success is inevitable, where wealth is natural, where abundance is their default setting. They're not hoping it works out. They know it works out. Their consciousness has merged with the timeline where everything they desire already exists. Now, here's what you need to understand about timelines and frequency shifts. Every time you access this frequency of already having, you're literally jumping to a different quantum timeline. This isn't metaphorical. This is how reality actually works at the quantum level. Your consciousness doesn't experience one fixed timeline moving forward through time. You're constantly shifting between parallel timelines based on your frequency, your beliefs, your expectations, and your state of being. When you operate on the frequency of lack, struggle, and scarcity, you continue to experience timelines where those conditions are present. When you shift to the frequency of abundance, completion, and already having, you jump to timelines where those conditions are your reality. And the more consistently you maintain this new frequency, the more permanently you anchor yourself in those abundant timelines. I remember the exact moment I realized this was actually working. I'd been practicing this frequency alignment for about 2 weeks when I received a phone call completely out of the blue from someone I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. They were starting a new venture and immediately thought of me as the perfect partner. Within 3 months, that partnership had generated more income than my previous business had made in 3 years. But here's the part that proves this is about frequency, not luck. I didn't reach out to this person. I didn't network or hustle or promote myself. I simply held the frequency of already being successful, and the opportunity found me. This is how the quantum field works. When you become a vibrational match to wealth, wealth finds you. When you embody the frequency of success, success seeks you out. When you operate on the frequency millionaires use, your entire reality reorganizes itself to match that frequency. Opportunities appear, resources show up, people enter your life at exactly the right moment. Synchronicities become your new normal. But I need to tell you something important about this frequency. It requires you to let go of how you think wealth should come to you. Most people have very specific ideas about how they'll make money, what their business will look like, which opportunities they should pursue. And those rigid expectations actually block the quantum field from delivering abundance in unexpected, miraculous ways. The millionaires who operate on this frequency stay open. They hold the vibration of wealth without attachment to the specific path it takes to reach them. They trust that the quantum field has access to infinite possibilities, infinite pathways, infinite ways to deliver the abundance they're aligned with. This openness, this trust, this willingness to receive from unexpected sources is crucial to staying in the frequency. I've watched this principle transform my life in ways I never could have planned or predicted. Income streams I never imagined appeared. Business opportunities I never would have thought to pursue found me. Investments I made almost casually multiplied beyond anything I expected. And through it all, I maintained that same frequency of already having, of knowing that wealth is my natural state, of operating as someone for whom abundance is inevitable. Now, let me address something you might be experiencing right now as you read this. Part of you is probably excited, inspired, ready to access this frequency immediately. But another part of you might be skeptical, doubtful, resistant. That's your old programming trying to keep you safe in familiar territory. Your subconscious mind has been conditioned to believe that money is hard, that success requires struggle, that you need to work yourself to exhaustion to deserve abundance. Those beliefs are frequency disruptors. They're energetic blocks that keep you locked into scarcity timelines. And here's the beautiful part about accessing the millionaire frequency. You don't need to battle those beliefs. You don't need to dig them up and heal them and release them. You simply need to choose a different frequency often enough that it becomes stronger than the old programming. Every time you access the feeling of already having wealth, you're strengthening new neural pathways, creating new electromagnetic patterns, broadcasting a new signal into the quantum field. And the field responds instantly. Not eventually, not someday, instantly. The shift happens in consciousness first, and then your three-dimensional reality catches up to match your new frequency. This is why some manifestations feel instant, and others feel like they take forever. It's not about the size of what you're manifesting. It's about whether you're operating on the frequency of already having it or the frequency of still wanting it. Millionaires don't want wealth. They embody it. They don't hope for success. They expect it. They don't wish for abundance. They know it's already theirs. Let me give you another practical technique you can use right now to lock in this frequency. Throughout your day, especially when you're making financial decisions or thinking about money, pause for just 3 seconds and ask yourself this question. How would I handle this situation if I was already a millionaire? Then, make the decision from that frequency. Not recklessly, not irresponsibly, but from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Maybe you're at a restaurant deciding what to order and you catch yourself choosing based on price rather than desire. In that moment, shift to the millionaire frequency and order what you actually want. Maybe you're considering a course or investment that would help your business, and fear about money is holding you back. Shift to the frequency of already being wealthy and make the decision from that state. Maybe someone asks you for help or support, and your first instinct is to calculate whether you can afford to be generous. Shift to the frequency of abundance and give freely. These small shifts train your consciousness to operate on the millionaire frequency. They send powerful signals to the quantum field that you're no longer available for scarcity, you're no longer resonating with lack, you're no longer identifying as someone who needs to struggle for survival. And the field responds by collapsing more abundant timelines into your reality. Here's something else I discovered about this frequency that completely changed my relationship with money. Millionaires don't actually think about money as much as people who struggle financially. This seems counterintuitive, but it's true. When you're operating on scarcity frequency, you're constantly worried about money, constantly calculating, constantly stressed about bills and expenses and whether you'll have enough. Your attention is consumed by the absence of wealth. But when you operate on millionaire frequency, money becomes background noise. It's just there, like oxygen. You trust it will be there when you need it. You don't obsess over it or worship it or make it the center of your life. You're free to focus on creativity, contribution, growth, joy, and purpose because the frequency you're operating on ensures that wealth flows naturally without constant monitoring and management. This shift in attention is actually one of the most powerful indicators that you've successfully accessed the millionaire frequency. When you notice that you're thinking about money less while somehow having more of it, you know you've made the quantum leap. When financial stress dissolves and is replaced by a quiet confidence that everything always works out, you know you've anchored into abundant timelines. Now, I want to talk about something that might challenge you, but is absolutely essential to maintaining this frequency. You need to surround yourself with people who operate on similar frequencies or higher. This doesn't mean abandoning everyone in your life who struggles financially. It means being very conscious about whose energy you're absorbing and whose beliefs you're allowing to influence your field. If you spend all your time with people who complain about money, who believe the system is rigged against them, who think wealthy people are lucky or corrupt, their frequency will pull you back into scarcity consciousness. Not because they're bad people, but because frequency is contagious. You literally entrain to the dominant vibration of the people you spend the most time with. Millionaires naturally gravitate toward other millionaires not because they're elitist, but because they're protecting their frequency. They understand at some level that maintaining the vibration of wealth requires surrounding yourself with that vibration. You can do this even before you have millions in the bank. Join communities of people who think abundantly. Consume content from people who operate on prosperity consciousness. Spend time in environments where wealth is normalized rather than glorified or demonized. I also want to address the guilt that sometimes comes up when you start operating on this frequency. You might feel selfish focusing on your own abundance when there's so much suffering in the world. You might feel uncomfortable receiving wealth when others don't have enough. This guilt is another frequency disruptor, and it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how abundance actually works. Wealth isn't a finite resource that you take from others when you claim it for yourself. Wealth is a frequency, an energy, a consciousness that expands the more people access it. When you become wealthy, you don't diminish anyone else's abundance. You actually raise the collective frequency and make it easier for others to access prosperity. You become a living example that abundance is possible. You create opportunities for others through your success. You contribute to the economy, to innovation, to progress in ways you couldn't when you were struggling. The most generous thing you can do is become the wealthiest version of yourself. The most powerful contribution you can make is to anchor into abundant timelines and inspire others to do the same. Millionaires who operate on this frequency aren't hoarding resources. They're circulating energy, creating value, expanding possibility for everyone around them. Let me share one more profound realization I had about this frequency. Time moves differently when you're operating on it. Have you ever noticed that some people accomplish in 1 year what others take a decade to achieve? That's not because they're smarter or luckier or more talented. It's because they're operating on a frequency where time bends in their favor, where opportunities accelerate, where manifestations collapse into reality faster. When you're vibrating at the millionaire frequency, you're literally accessing timelines where your success happens more quickly. You bypass years of struggle and limitation because you're no longer resonating with those experiences. You quantum leap directly to the outcomes you desire because your consciousness is already there, already experiencing the completion, already embodying the achievement. This is why I can tell you with absolute certainty that you don't need 5 years or 10 years to become wealthy. You don't need to climb some linear ladder of success. You need to access the frequency where wealth already exists in your reality, and then allow your three-dimensional experience to catch up with that quantum truth. It could happen in 6 months. It could happen in 6 weeks. It could happen in 6 days if your frequency is stable enough and your resistance is low enough. So here's what I want you to do right now, not later, not when you have more time, right now. Close your eyes for just 60 seconds and access that frequency of already being wealthy. Feel it in your body, amplify it, let it expand through every cell. Then open your eyes and make one decision, take one action, speak one word from that frequency. Start training your consciousness to operate from abundance right now, in this present moment. Because here's the truth that millionaires know whether they realize it or not: you are not becoming wealthy. You are wealthy in infinite quantum timelines right now. Your only job is to align your consciousness with those timelines, to match your frequency to that reality, to embody the version of yourself who already has everything you desire. The money is already there. The opportunities are already present. The abundance is already flowing. You're just tuning into the channel where you can perceive it and experience it. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not starting from scratch. You are a powerful, conscious creator who has simply been operating on the wrong frequency. And today, right now, in this moment, you have the power to shift. You have the ability to access the frequency millionaires use. You have the capacity to collapse abundant timelines into your present reality. This isn't about hoping or wishing or trying. This is about knowing. This is about claiming. This is about stepping into the quantum truth that wealth is your birthright, abundance is your natural state, and success is inevitable when you operate on the frequency that creates it. The universe isn't testing you. It isn't making you wait. It isn't withholding anything from you. It's simply responding to the frequency you're broadcasting, reflecting back to you the reality that matches your vibration. So broadcast wealth, embody abundance, operate on the frequency where everything you desire already exists, because it does. In the quantum field, in parallel timelines, in the infinite possibilities of consciousness, you are already a millionaire. You are already successful. You are already free. Your job is simply to merge with that version of yourself, to become the energetic match to that reality, to collapse those timelines into your present experience. You chose to find this information. You chose to read these words. You chose to access this knowledge. That choice already tells me you're ready for the shift. You're ready to leave behind the struggle and the limitation and the scarcity. You're ready to step into the frequency where wealth flows naturally, where abundance is your default, where success is guaranteed. Trust that readiness, honor that calling, act on that knowing. The frequency millionaires use isn't a secret anymore. It's yours now. It's accessible to you right now. And when you claim it, when you embody it, when you make it your new normal, your entire reality will transform to match it. Welcome to the frequency where miracles are everyday occurrences, where abundance is inevitable, and where you finally remember who you truly are, an infinite conscious creator with unlimited access to every version of reality you desire. The millionaire frequency is calling you. Answer it, embody it, become it. Your wealthy self is waiting.